Up until the early 20th century, there were no trained staff. There were some who'd been general trained at British hospitals who came out to the colony, and they took jobs here, generally as matrons. All the rest were what we term as today carers, ward aides and attendants, untrained. In fact, the early medical superintendent, that was his office in the corner and his bedroom up the top when it was designed. The opposite corner building, which looks exactly the same, was the first mortuary on the site. Training as such was attempted in the 1930s, did not get anywhere, and training as such proper in psychiatric nursing, and that included mental retardation, the old term for intellectual disability, did not occur until the late 1950s, early 1960s, when it was established. A nursing school, a psychiatric nursing school was established on site, and it was run on the same terms under the block system used in general hospitals. The school achieved a very, very high standard, with those who did a 3-year registered nurse course do 1 year general, 2 years psych. They would then get their ticket, and then so many months prac on site. They would get registration with the Nursing Board, Registration Board of Tasmania. Those staff could go then anywhere in Australia and get a job in a psychiatric hospital. In fact, a lot of our people even go overseas. And conversely, a lot of our staff prior to closing were from England, Ireland and Scotland, coming out of working holidays, and a lot stayed permanently. And that was one of the big advances in the 1960s, was the training format. There was a very big recruiting campaign run in conjunction with the rebuilding of the hospital to bring it up to modern and acceptable lines and standards. So with the rebuilding and the recruiting of trained staff occurred both at the one time. So the standards in the 1960s were lifted very significantly and virtually set the basis today. But of course, nursing training today is all done through the university, and but unfortunately there are not a great number of people who are taking on psychiatric nursing, and this is one of the big problems that are facing the health area today. The number of and availability of trained staff. The new high secure psychiatric unit over at Risdon, that was opened last year, they still can't get sufficient staff to fully man that, even with intensive overseas recruiting. We are not training sufficient people in the nursing field. And that's having a very much a dampening effect on how we can deliver our health services to the community of Tasmania. It's a whole flow-on effect. The bulk of the key nurses involved, particularly in mental health, were people who were trained here. That closed in 1992. In the next 5 years, all those people practically will be retired. So the pressure is really on government to take a very hard look at training. The hospital training format had a lot going for it. So while it is not a point of criticism, it is something that we are very well aware of, but no solution has been brought forward. What you're being trained for is to do the next layer down, but unless you've got the professionals on top that can guide you and assist you, you won't be able to achieve the appropriate outcomes in relation to an accredited service. So that's where training is at the current times. It didn't start here until very late. There's been a change over to university training away from the hospitals. But my personal view is we've lost something in that there's a big gap. Because of all the students that I've seen over the last few years going through the group homes and the dementia units, no one wants to take on mental health nursing. It's a great shame. It can be very, very satisfying.